In today's video, I am going to go over a fast and easy way to get the legendary Old Master appearance. To unlock this skin, one needs to complete a challenge as for many other skins and emotes in Battlefront 2. The reason for making this video is that this specific challenge can seem very time consuming and hard for many players, both new and old ones, and I want to help you with that. Chances are that many experienced players already have unlocked this skin due to the fact that it has been out for over a year now. This guide's purpose is therefore to especially help the newer players complete this challenge as efficiently as possible. Before we get started, it can be good to take a look at the requirements for this challenge, which are to defeat 5,000 enemies with any dark side hero. This may seem like a lot, but this strat, which gives you around 200 kills per game, will certainly help. Let's jump into it. After testing a few different maps and heroes, I have come to the conclusion that Jabba's Palace is the optimal map for stacking up kills fast and easy, because of its small corridors and huge spawn rates of AI stacks. And the character I found that could utilize these conditions best was the greatest Star Wars character ever, yeah, you guessed it, Bossk, due to all his abilities dealing a huge amount of AoE damage. You couldn't possibly think I was going to choose Iden over everyone's favorite space lizard, right? But to be sure that we will be able to get Bossk as soon as possible, we gotta have a strategy for the opening. One can use a few different classes and loadouts in the opening of Jabba's Palace, but I often use this officer combo, which I found useful to get the 4000 battle points required for a hero as quickly as possible. The first card in this loadout is Officer's Presence, which is an overall good support card that gives you bonus points when teammates around you regain health. This card can help you stack up a big amount of battle points on places on the map filled with teammates around you, which fits perfectly for the Jabba's Palace opening. The second card in this loadout is Improved Battle Command, which has a bigger range and shorter recharge time compared to the regular Battle Command, which means you can use it more often on a bigger number of teammates and therefore get more points. The third card, Bounty Hunter, is a must-have in all the fast point builds. It helps the player to get 20% more battle points from everything. This amplifier helps the other two cards and takes them to another level. I always begin with using my battle command as soon as possible to get some points, and if some of your teammates have recharge command, you might be able to use it twice in a row like in this clip. Then I always begin with throwing my flash right into this stack to soften them up for future kills and assists, and then gets my turret out as soon as possible. While falling back behind this box, my turret deals a huge amount of damage in the chaos, but I don't want to stay in this place because it can be kind of risky, so I use my battle command to get out of there as soon as possible to avoid this shock grenade. And then I stay up here for a bit, waiting for my health to regain and my abilities while spamming some shots and dealing damage. Then I jump straight into it again. As you can see here, all my abilities work together to help me gain enough points to afford Bossk rather quickly, and after spotting that there are 4000 battle points on the scoreboard, it's time to die. We will use this Deoxys grenade build, which mainly focuses on buffing Bossk's Deoxys nades as much as possible. The reason behind this is the huge damage capacity and range that the Deoxys has, combined with the stacked choke points on Jabba's Palace. The first two cards in this build are fairly simple. The first card, Spreading the Disease, makes the Deoxys cloud bigger in every direction, which grants us the possibility to damage and kill more people with it. The second card in this build, Lingering Deoxys, doubles the cloud's duration from 6 to 12 seconds on its highest level, which therefore damages and kills more opponents. The third card in this loadout, Unrelenting Predator, is this build's most important piece. With every kill we get while Predator Instincts is active, the recharge time for all of our abilities are shortened by about 3 seconds. This means that with the help of this card, we can use Predator Instincts as a combo together with the Deoxys grenade and the mines to cut off a large amount of seconds on both of their cooldowns, like in this clip, where we, as you can see, actually managed to reset both of our cooldowns completely. It's important to understand how to combine Bossk's different abilities with each other on different parts of the map. I usually throw my Deoxys into this choke point right here to soften up my opponents, then I place mines in front of me to stop eventual pushes, while I take cover in this corner here to kill the remaining enemies. One thing that could be good to know about this map, or more specifically this phase, is that there are 3 main choke points, one to the left, the one in the middle, and one to the right. To cover the left choke point and get those kills, I usually put my mines there, and then I just repeat the same loop over again with the Deoxys in the middle. Sometimes, when I want to get even more kills, I throw my Deoxys on the wall to the right side of the middle corridor. In that way, my upgraded Deoxys actually manage to cover both the middle choke point and their choke point to the right. After farming as many kills as possible in the first phase, it's time to fall back around the 1 minute mark to let the opponents take one of the points. The time of falling back of course depends on the enemy's already existing progress on the points. You might be able to stay a little bit longer and farm more kills, but to play it safe I usually try to fall back around the 1 minute mark and kindly asking my teammates to do so as well. Between each phase, the captured points usually are very stacked, so I always try to rush in and use my Predator Deoxys combo to get as many kills as possible. It's very important to remember not to overcommit during this period and fall back into the objective area before the time runs out. This is because we don't want to risk dying, which will waste our time. After falling back, I usually take this position during phase 2, and in this clip we can see the full effect of the upgraded Deoxys. Although I end up whiffing some shots, the Deoxys got my back and finishes them off for me. Unfortunately for us during phase 2, the choke points or spawns are too far away from each other for us to cover them all at the same time, so I usually focus on this middle one right here. I often put my mines at the bottom of the stairs to prevent me from being flanked. I usually throw my Deoxys right through this window and into the spot where one of the bigger stacks of opponents spawn. Then I repeat this loop till the end of the phase. Once again, after letting the opponents take the point, I rush straight in to try to farm as much as possible from the big stacks on the points. With the Predator Deoxys combo, before falling back, I usually place down my mines on these stairs to get me some more kills while I'm on my way into the new objective area. There are two big choke points during the third phase on this map. The key to get as many kills as possible during this phase is to play pretty aggressive and try to kill as many opponents outside the objective area as possible before they reach your teammates. Prior to this right choke point, there are two separate corridors where the stacks of opponents spawn. It's fairly easy to kill all enemies coming from the right corridor, but to kill the enemies in the left corridor may be a bit harder. I usually try to aim my toxin on the ground in front of Jabba's throne. This way my Deoxys actually managed to damage the enemies in both of these paths due to its upgraded range. Depending on where your opponents are and how far they have managed to push, the usage of our abilities could vary a little. If they have managed to push into the stairs, we might need to throw our Deoxys and place our mines at the bottom of the stairs, while using our Predator instincts to kill them off. If the opponents haven't pushed us at all, I usually put the mines here to the right due to the fact that most of the time the Deoxys grenade and the Predator instincts are more than enough to cover the stairs and the corridors. After repeating the aggressive process of running up and down the stairs to try to secure as many kills as possible, it's time again to fall back around the 1 minute mark. The reason I usually fall back around this time is to be on the safe side, especially when the opponents barely have gotten any progress on a point. It can be pretty hard to estimate how much time is needed for the enemies to take one of the points. Even though we fall back with much time in this clip, they still needed overtime to manage to take the point. After the opponents have managed to take the point, it's time to jump straight in and try to harvest as many kills as possible using the Deoxys Predator combo once again. I usually try to push the captured points as early as possible. In this way I get the best opportunity to utilize the heavily stacked points as well as having the time for all my abilities to refresh before the new waves. This last phase is a bit different compared to the previous ones. In this phase the enemies are spawning in 3 different corridors which eventually end up in one main choke point, this big hallway. Like in the previous phases, I always try to throw my Deoxys so it can reach and damage all the corridors. The spot that I have found for this is a bit behind the first 2 entrances, a bit to the left. After placing my Deoxys to soften up the enemies, I usually use Predator Instincts to combo, spamming into the masses while quickly refreshing my abilities. I often just place my mines in the big main hallway, but sometimes if I miss my Deoxys or want it to focus more on 2 specific entrances, I usually place my mines in the corridor where my Deoxys is absent. I repeat these loops while I continuously try to snipe the enemies all the way in the back in front of the stairs with Bossk's Reliby V10. An important thing to know about this weapon is that it charges up power while scoping, and deals massive amounts of damage with a fully charged shot that basically can one-shot every enemy. It's therefore unwise and unnecessary to try to hip fire spam with Bossk's weapon due to the fact that every shot on charge will make a minimal amount of damage, especially at long range. When I follow these steps and strats myself, I get about 200 kills per game, with each game taking about 15 minutes to complete. I hope you guys who are watching might be able to get those stats as well after following this guide. Feel free to experiment yourself. If you find a strat or lineup that could be better or more useful than those in this video, you are more than welcome to comment about it down below to help other people improve their game even more. I am fully aware that there are multiple already existing strategies for unlocking the Old Master skin, like for example Sidious Chain Lightning builds and heavy builds for the opening, and I have tried them out as well, but those strats that I preferred and worked best for me ended up in this video. Finally, if you enjoyed this video and want more Battlefront content, I'd appreciate a like on this video. If you don't want to miss future videos like this one, you're more than welcome to subscribe too. It's free after all. Good luck my friends, and keep grinding.